Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peachy and this is Plant and Style. Today's video is part 2 of my Hoya collection tour 2023 spring updates. If you have not seen the first part, please do check it out. I will leave the link up here because it has majority of my Hoya collection. It's in my other IKEA greenhouse cabinet, Millspo tall. So this is just probably 40% of my entire Hoya collection. So you don't want to miss that. Anyways, behind me right here is my IKEA greenhouse, Millspo white. It houses my starter plant Hoyas, so they're little tiny babies. That's why I was able to fit a whole lot in here. And I also have other aeroids mixed in that are juvenile and starter plants as well. Yeah, so without further ado, let's look at more Hoyas in my collection. For the first plant, I wanted to show you this one right here. Is my Hoya sigillatus, and as you can see, they're a bunch of cuttings, and that's because I got this as a rehab, a really dried up plant, and it was in a trellis, and the leaves were all thin and curly, and I really thought that I wasn't going to be able to revive this plant, but I was able to propagate it as much as I could, like single leaf cutting, and I'm so happy to report that they are doing fine. There's probably some nodes that did not make it, like this one. It's looking more dry than the rest of them, but yeah, it makes me very happy that pretty soon I'm gonna have a full pot of Hoya sigillatus. So that's the first plant. Next one is this very cute Hoya CHINGHUNGENSIS, and this is the large form, and it's gone longer since I had it. So the next step here is to propagate it and hopefully get a bushier pot as well. But I already love the structure it's giving me, and I want to compare, I want to show you, because I have this regular version. This one is the larger variety and this is the smaller variety. So you can see the leaf size difference right there. They're both cute and worth to have in my collection, in my opinion. I love them both, and this one, I actually already propagated. This one came with the just one stem, and I chopped it into single node cutting. Unfortunately, I don't think that the single node cuttings took, because I planted it directly in this pot and I didn't bother rooting it because I have had success rooting in pond directly. And let's see, yeah, it didn't. I had 2 little single node cuttings left and they're both gone. But the good thing is, because of the chop, the stem branched out a few times, so it's even better, I guess. So I'm gonna try to propagate it again after a while when it gets a little longer, and I'm not gonna do a single node cutting this time, so I'm probably just gonna cut it like this much. So it's like it's a whole stem. It would have multiple node to activate or to root. So that's the plan for this, guys. My Hoya CHINGHUNGENSIS large form and small form. Behind here is my Hoya globulosa. Oh my god. Like, this plant is so enjoyable to watch grow from like a small leaf into this plump, glossy and fuzzy. The back is so soft. I love petting this leaf. My oh my, this is probably one of my favorites. It's very simple. It's a lot more common now anyways, but wow, the foliage alone is to die for. I think it's so like plump. Number one thing that I really really love about the foliage, it's just gorgeous. This plant is a must-have in your Hoya collection, especially if you love Hoyas. Then, and it's such an easy grower as well. You can see it's in this candle votive that I got from dollar store, and you can see happy roots right there. So yeah, such a beautiful plant. Get one. Next one over here is my Hoya quinquenervia, and this one started with 2 leaves, this 2 down here, and very slow. I find that it seems like it's a slow grower, and I'm not sure what's going on, why the leaves are curling the way it's doing right now. Yeah, and I do enjoy watching the new leaf grow with this plant as well, because it starts out as red. Very cool, but curly for some reason. I don't think it's thirsty because there's still a reservoir. I don't want to show you how algae ridden it is, but apart from that, I guess it's okay. There's not much growth for me to discuss it further. This one right here is another new addition recently, and yeah, I have been collecting the more common Hoyas lately just because I missed out before, and now they're coming back and cheaper than ever as well. So yeah, this was like practically free almost, I think. So this is the Hoya maniparensis, and look at that unique leaf. I know it doesn't look as much like anything right now, but I think that's really cute. I love the small leaves as well, the same way I love my big plump Hoyas. These dainty little leaves are just fascinating for me, the same way. Much like the maniparensis, this one has small leaves as well, and this is the Hoya mirabilis splash, and it branched out for me. This one started small as well, maybe 4 leaves, and I think, no, I don't have a date. Oh, yes, I do. I got this in June 27 of last year, and yeah, so it's almost a year again. Yeah, I guess it's a bit slow, but I do have cute little peduncles, as you can see over there. It's very tiny right there. I have not researched the bloom on this plant, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them grow or unfold in front of me too. There's 3 currently, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that we're able to see one very soon. This next one is another newer addition. I've had this for a few months now, and I grew these 2 sets of leaves up here, and you can see it's obviously a lot bigger than the older leaves. That seems to be like the trend in this cabinet. I think the high humidity has something to do with it, and for sure, right? Like, so right now my cabinet's been open for probably 30 minutes, and we still have 75% humidity in there. It was actually, I found in the morning, I found it sitting in 93%, so I had to open the cabinet and like air it out a little bit. So yeah, they love this cabinet, I'm telling you. So yeah, oh, I forgot to tell you what this was. So this is the Hoya lacunosa inner variegation, I guess. At least that's what I got it as. Next one right here is my Hoya birthday AFF. And I do have a date in here with my handy dandy label. And I got this in May 19, 2022. And again, this used to be just small and definitely not trailing. And finally, we're getting some trails in this plant, and I would really love to see this in full pot. And I'm looking at propagating this very soon, so I think I'm gonna cut from here and down here. Yeah, so such a fuzzy, another one of those fuzzy foliage. And I do enjoy that because I do love petting my leaves if it's safe to do so. This next one, I had struggle in the beginning, and I got this in May 18 also. So this is my Hoya CARNOSA AH074. This was actually labeled as silver at the time that I purchased it, and I believe this was the original leaf. And as you can see, we have some issues over here, some kind of pest maybe, and for a while it did not move for me. All of this growth from the top right here, all these 7 leaves I believe are fairly new. Like it all happened I think the beginning of spring, and I'm here for it. Look at how delicious those silver splashes on this plant now. So much fun. Yeah, I do enjoy a silver Hoya. I didn't know that until all my silver Hoya cuttings started growing, and much like the variegated plants, it's just different. Like every leaf is so exciting because you're not sure if you're gonna get variegation or not, or how good of a variegation you're gonna get. I think it's very rewarding to grow again. So this is my Hoya CARNOSA AH074 silver, I believe. Behind here is my Hoya lobii with the orange flower, and it has a tag along, some type of fern, I think. So this one again started with the two leaves at the bottom, and since then it grew this much bigger, again bigger foliage. Pretty plain right now, and I'm curious to see what the orange flower is gonna look like. Again, I have not looked them up because I just haven't gotten around it yet. And look at the venation at the back is more pronounced compared to the front. The front seems very plain, so it better have a nice flower, because otherwise this growth pattern is growing weird, much like a POLYNEURA, but not as pretty as a POLYNEURA, obviously. Here's a plant that has done nothing for me. Actually, scratch that, because the last time I checked, it actually has an inch of root. This is the Hoya CARNOSA Argentea Princess. I think this is the priciest Hoya cutting in my collection, and it sucks when it's done nothing for me yet, but I am just hoping that it stays alive and it's not gonna croak on me like my undulata and my gray ghost. Yeah, so it makes me nervous. Here's a newer cutting that I got. This is the Hoya THOMSONII Splash. I do have the regular THOMSONII that I love so much. I can see some growth point down there. You can't probably see it, but trust me, it's there. And it's got some good roots at the bottom, as you can see. It's just sitting in water now, and there's a growth point, so I believe she's fine. And this is exactly how I am growing my other THOMSONII, which I'm going to show you right now so you can compare them. So this is my regular THOMSONII, and as you can see, the leaves are much bigger, like more plump, more fuzzy, and oh my god, hold on. I love this plant. I hope that you could see the fuzziness on this plant. It is so enjoyable to pet. It's like a cat's ear. Yeah, it's so plump also. It's so juicy. I do enjoy this plant so much, and I cannot wait to see more growth. The old leaf right here, it started like this. It's like it's bald. It's not that fuzzy. That's why I was like freaking out when I got my first leaf, because I didn't imagine it this fuzzy at all. So yeah, one of my favorites. It's just a more common Hoya, but definitely a very enjoyable to have in your collection. Over here this is my Hoya CUMINGIANA variegated ALBO. I think it's got the outer variegation, and there are two cuttings in here that I have combined. I got both of them as a single node 2-leaf cuttings. I've got one earlier than the other one. That's why the other one is taller, but they are both doing great and showing magnificent variegations. As you can see, the top smaller leaves but more variegated are the ones that I grew in this cabinet. And I used to have a regular CUMINGIANA that was living outdoors, and I think it got rained on and I forgot about it. So I lost that, which is a bummer because it actually had some nice structure and I was able to flower it as well. But I'm excited to see this one turn into that kind of growth pattern. So again, Hoya CUMINGIANA variegated. So next one right here is Hoya Edgar, and this is over a year of growth from one leaf. And this leaf right here, this foliage is rough to the touch. First, it's like sandpaper. It's crazy, and the edge is really sharp too. It's firm and sharp, so like be careful. This could like cut you. I don't know much about it, but so far I don't mind growing it at all. I think that the foliage is very cool. Like it falls on my favorite kind of leaves. So yeah, Hoya Edgar is what it's called. Next one over here is my Hoya CHANG Island, and oh my gosh, so this is the one and only, the first leaf and the only leaf that I've grown so far. And look at that. See, look at how big and splashy it is. Oh my god. Yeah, I think I do enjoy silver and splashy kind of leaves. I can see that now. I know that now. I didn't used to, but man, I I check this every single day because I wanted to see if it's still growing, because my, oh my, how pretty is that? I think it's the most gorgeous leaf, right? Yeah, so cool. This one right here, I know, is I know it doesn't look as special, and I'm pretty sure like most of you will probably have a bigger pot of this, but I got this as a very small cutting with just this two. And I think I got this from Peace, Love, and Happiness Club. I just don't have it in my collection yet, and as a Hoya collector, I feel like you have to have a carry eye in your collection. I don't have the other variety because I don't know, it wasn't as appealing to me for a while, but this variegated one with the outer variegation specifically, because I've heard horror stories on the inner variegated one, and I'm probably not gonna get that one ever. But this one is already showing like 2 sets of leaves down there. So yeah, I'm quite happy to have this in my collection, to be honest. Next one right here is my Hoya Carnosa Wilbur Graves Russia. I got this cutting as a unrooted cutting, but it had 2 nodes. And I got it cheap at that time. I think it was $30 with 2 nodes at the time, because I got it locally and it was part of order. Like it was part of a package, and the seller was so kind enough to like give me 2 cuttings, 2 nodes, and I chopped it right away. So it was 2 single node cutting right here. This leaf right here and this one right here. So again, there were just 2 little leaves, and now look at them. And look at the sun stressing. There's a new leaf right here. They're pink or purple. Can you see that? And the splashes, the silver on these leaves are amazing. I'm sorry, I get very, very excited when I see my silver Hoyas. Ooh, this one is another newer one that again is not the rarest, but yeah, I think it's the cutest. I do enjoy the platypus shape of these little leaves, and as you can see, I think I got this with 3 leaves and 2 nodes, and these 2 newer sets of leaves grew under my care, or at least in this cabinet. Sorry, I'm trying to show you guys. I'm trying to find a way to show you better. But again, another cutie pie, I think, and I enjoy having that in my collection. Here's one that's finally coming back to life. Oh my god, I had a full pot, 4-inch pot of this, but it was in a very peaty soil mixture. That I got this locally in my local nursery, and it did not enjoy moving to pond right away. I had to reroot this a few times, and there's only 2. I think there's 2 cuttings here still, but I've lost like 9 cuttings already, and so far, yeah, I'm just holding on to this because this is, oh yeah, this is a KHRONIANA super silver, and like you already know, I do love my silver Hoya, so I'm still hoping for the best. Although it looks very sparse right now, I'm motivated to turn this around, hopefully. Back here is my Hoya obovata with the inner variegation. I do love a good obovata, and this one came to me with 1 leaf. This one with the most variegation. Unfortunately, the leaves that are growing under my care are a bit wonky and reverted even. So I don't exactly know what's going on with this plant, but we have some new growth, so we're gonna give it some time to prove itself. But I still love it regardless. I have no plans on getting rid of it anytime soon. Anyways, okay, so I think we're done on the top shelf, and I have a few scattered down here. This one is my Hoya Bella Anikibui, which is the one with the outer variegation. So for the longest time, and if you watch my Hoya tour, you can find there how I was complaining so much about my Hoya Bellas being like diva at that time. But my, oh my, all of my Hoya Bellas, I have three. I have the regular, and I have the other one. I'll show you in a little bit. I'll show you last because you'll see. They are all doing fantastically. Finally, they're all doing great, and I am here for it. I'm enjoying them right now. They're branching out like crazy, and yeah, I find that they're a bit more thirsty, by the way, than most of my Hoyas. So I think that the best way to care for your Bella if you're having trouble is to have them in a self-watering system. Have a wicker rope to suck up the nutrient or the water from a reservoir, because that way then you can monitor when to water it, because they're very thirsty. I find that I have to refill their reservoir more than a lot of my Hoyas here. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. Here is my very solid plant. This is the Hoya KHRONIANA splash. So far it's growing nicely. I love the silver splashes, as you can see. So this is making up for the super silver trouble that I'm getting, because this one is good enough. You see how silvery it is anyway. So yeah, I do love this plant. Over here is my Hoya New Guinea Ghost. So this is my problem child at the moment. And I was seeing clusters of new growth, which is a clue for spider mites. I mean, not spider mites, flat mites. It's what you guys have told me, or what I've learned from watching other people's Hoya videos. So far I've repotted this, washed the leaves, and I've only had one leaf, by the way. I forgot to mention, this one started as one leaf and that leaf is gone. The new growth were constantly dropping off, making me worried for a while until I repotted it, like I said, and it started growing again. I don't know. It's right now, it's not pretty. It's not looking pretty. Yeah, I don't know. It might have other problems or other issues as well. I did not treat it with sulfur just yet. I have not done any sulfur treatment on my Hoyas, unfortunately, because I just haven't found the time. And I also found thrips instead, so I had to treat the thrips, and I was repotting a lot of my Hoyas anyway, so I was hoping that that would do it. And since this one started growing, so that kind of like made me think that maybe I didn't have flat mites. But the next one right here is, oh my, I know that I've shown you this on my recent plant tour as a teaser, but oh my gosh. This is very fascinating to watch, because I yeah, I started this with these two bottom leaves right here as a unrooted cutting, one node cutting, and it sprouted two growth points. I'm like, oh my gosh. So you get twice more fun. I cannot believe that it's happening for me, you know? Like, and then you can see over here, there is another set of leaves forming. So very, very, very exciting. Definitely worth it to have this plant in your collection. And they're also coming down in prices now. So now if you love a good Hoya, fast growing Hoya, you gotta have this. If there is one Hoya, like I said, I think I've already said this before, but if there's one Hoya that I would recommend anybody to have that is so much fun and so gorgeous, this is it. The Hoya Polyneura with the outer variegation. I also have seen the Hoya Polyneura with the inner variegation, but my goodness, how expensive. I'm probably not gonna have that in my collection unless it drops tremendously. Okay, so I was gonna show this last, but I couldn't wait any longer. But this is my Hoya Lida Bui. Oh my goodness. And look at her go. Finally, I finally cracked the code on my Hoya Bellas, and they're growing. They're all growing. One of them is actually in ambient condition. I just threw it in my anthurium shelf because I was testing it out. I put the regular Hoya Bella there and see if it's able to grow outside of the cabinet before I put this variegated ones out just to test it out. I didn't want to lose any of these variegated Hoya Bellas, but now that I see that my regular Hoya Bella is doing just fine in the room, so this are next. I'm planning on actually combining all of my Hoya Bellas in one pot and probably in this pot because I want all of them in my collection. And yeah, I like the variety and just to have it because I guess I'm a collector now, and especially now that they're doing great. So here's another flower. There's only two. There were three actually, but my goodness, finally this plant has been trying to put out a flower since I got it. But I'm so happy that I was able to witness a shooting star. Finally, again, Hoya multiflora. And then over here is my regular Hoya Polyneura. This one has struggled also under my care in the beginning, and I propagated it to make a bushier pot. This plant likes lower light, I find, and yeah, so now it's living in ambient condition. And here are the Hoyas that actually live in ambient condition all around the house. And first one is this beautiful, very sculptural and dainty at the same time. I love the little leaves, and yeah, I think it's very simple yet fabulous. It almost looks like a miniature olive tree, which is very fashionable nowadays. So yeah, this is the Hoya Engleriana, and it's in pon. Like if you haven't noticed yet, that's my main substrate. Probably about 95% now. 95% of my plant collection is in this substrate, just for ease of care and I guess preference. And we are back on the Milsbo tall because I forgot to show you my HOYA right there. My variegated HOYA with the inner variegation, and I'm very proud of this plant as well because this one started with just 5 little leaves and now it has grown bushier. I've trellised it, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it trellised, and I think that I might end up letting it trail. Yeah, so we'll see. This is the Detolf cabinet where I acclimate my new plants and imported plants. This one's right here is a new Hoya. It's still in soil, and this is the Hoya Kumariana. I have been wanting this cute little scallopy and frail, dainty, but plump at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but such a very interesting foliage, almost like a fern, kind of like a button fern, bigger button fern. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. I like the combination of dainty and plump at the same time. It's super cute. And at the very top right here, and it's living on top of my Monstera Thai constellation for now. The new leaf just emerged and I had to make room, of course. So she got bumped a little tiny bit farther from the light, but it's okay. This is my Hoya compacta, and if you can't tell, I actually combined my regular Hoya compacta and my variegated Hoya compacta because I know how slow of a grower these plants are, so I cheated a little bit. I wanted a fuller pot already, so I figured they would look better fuller together. So there's that, and I also started acclimating my Bellas and the ALBO right here and in this spot for now, because I like the texture that it creates in the middle of all this big dark foliage of anthurium. So same thing, same principle. My Hoya Wayerii that is combined with the regular Wayerii is up there, and it's living its best life hanging up there with the rest of my aeroids. Once again, this is the Queen, Crimson Queen, and I do have a random Hoya Mini Bell up there at the very top, and I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet, but yeah, they're all up there. Yeah, so I'm just trying to squeeze in my Hoyas in the middle of my anthuriums because there's no room, and I kind of want to fill in all these little gaps, empty gaps in between the pots, you know. I think the small leaves Hoyas are perfect to do that job, so we'll see. I'll update you once again. And I do have my obovata over here, my regular obovata over there in this booty planter. It's happy, but as you already know, it's a very slow grower, but it's done very well. And this is the obovata splash that actually lived in the highlight Milsbo tall, and now I moved it here because I prefer the darker foliage if possible, and it was kind of getting bleached in the cabinet, so that's the plant over there. She's in timeout, basically. And last but not the least, my Royal Hawaiian Purple is very happy up here. I've almost and tried to get rid of this plant, but every time I try and do it, it starts to look better and better. So I think I'm going to keep her now the way she's looking. And it seems easy enough. It's just chilling up here on top of the cabinet where she used to live. So Hoya Pubicalix Royal Hawaiian Purple. That is some nice purpling and long splashy foliage. And that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you do like this kind of video, please do let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell down below so you'll be notified when my future video drops. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye!